Hi, this is Galit Goldfarb. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Today I'm going to be talking about an overactive bladder and how you can treat it naturally. Well, if you wake up in the night to urinate or notice that you need to urinate more than often and more than most people, then and if you cannot hold your urine or experience a leakage when you cough, sneeze, laugh, or when you need to empty your bladder, then you may have an overactive bladder. An overactive bladder is a clinical syndrome leading to an urgency to empty your bladder with or without incontinence, which is a lack of voluntary control over your bladder. And it usually also leads to increased nighttime urination, nocturia. And the overall prevalence of an overactive bladder is approximately 12% of the population suffers from this syndrome. In women, overactive bladder increases significantly with age, and the risk rises from 2% in those aged between 18 to 24 to 19% in those aged 65 to 75. While an overactive bladder is quite common, it is not life-threatening. However, it can seriously impact your quality of life, as those who suffer it really know it. Now, fortunately, there are dietary supplement and lifestyle recommendations that can help you improve your bladder function and your bladder health. First of all, let's talk about diet and fluids in particular. A literature review reported that avoiding the consumption of caffeine, carbonated drinks, and alcohol throughout the day was clearly shown to have an association between these beverages and the symptom of overactive bladder severity. And another study examined 2,900 healthy young women who had never become pregnant before, and an overactive bladder was common in these women. And the study found that urinary frequency was associated with consuming artificial sweeteners and coffee and tea. The caffeine in coffee and tea and the artificial sweeteners were both causative factors of an overactive bladder. Carbonated drinks are also associated with incontinence and bladder disorders, so I recommend avoiding all dietary beverages that have artificial sweeteners. I also recommend reducing all caffeinated drinks, including energy drinks, tea, coffee, especially if you suffer from an overactive bladder. I know it's not easy, but it just takes a few days to overcome the addiction, the addictive quality of caffeine. And I do recommend doing this to help you overcome an overactive bladder. Also, natural herbal teas such as peppermint, lemon balm, and licorice root are healthy and full of antioxidants that support a healthy bladder. If you still want to consume some kind of tea or coffee, then avoid adding sweeteners to your drinks is the best way. Taste buds replace themselves every 2 to 3 weeks, and you can get used to different tastes if you persist in sampling the perhaps unpalatable flavor for you at this moment can soon become something tasty. If you persist with tasting it, it will become palatable. However, if this is not an option for you, natural sugar is better than artificial sweeteners. You also want to lose weight. A study mentioned that being overweight, recorded through an elevated body mass index, BMI, was a risk factor for overactive bladder. If you are overweight, then weight loss is crucial to improving overactive bladder. There are many health risks to being overweight, as we all know, and the discomfort and frustration of an overactive bladder are one of them. And if you need support with weight loss, then please visit the Gorilla Diet website, a 12-week weight loss program. I really recommend it. It's a natural weight loss and lifestyle program that will help you achieve this goal in the best way possible. It's based on unbiased scientific evidence to ensure that you reach your health and weight loss goals in the easiest way. Also, you want to have allergy awareness. Some allergies may also cause an overactive bladder. The National Association for Continence reports that people with celiac disease are more likely to have bladder issues, such as bladder leaks or incontinence when exposed to the allergen. Therefore, eliminating any foods or substances that you may have an allergy to is good advice, as the symptoms will affect the quality of your life and make you more prone to other diseases. you may see my video on allergies for more information on this. I have a link at the bottom of this video. Also, supplements. A study involved over 6,000 women found that 3 nutrients were associated with decreased onset of overactive bladder. Higher intakes of vitamin D, protein, and potassium were significantly associated with decreased onset of overactive bladder. Vitamin D receptors are found in the bladder's skeletal and smooth muscle cells, and a literature review found that most studies showed a significant association between vitamin D deficiency or insufficiency, which is slightly less than a deficiency, and the onset and severity of urinary incontinence. And they concluded that vitamin D supplementation is effective for treating urinary incontinence. Another study showed that urinary flow rate was associated with total vitamin D levels. Therefore, I recommend supplementing with 1,000 international units IUs of vitamin D 5 times a week if your skin is not exposed to sufficient UVB rays of the sun. And you can see my video on vitamin D to learn exactly how you can get sufficient levels of this nutrient. Vitamin D supplements are a simple and effective way to improve your bladder function, and these should be taken with 2 tablespoons of any green leafy vegetable. You don't have to take them exactly at the same time, but during the same day, which supplies the vitamin K that is necessary to help work synergistically with vitamin D. Also, potassium, as I mentioned, one study with 82 participants, not so many, but from the Department of Urology in the University of Turkey, showed that potassium citrate supplementation led to significant decrease in the score of overactive bladder. And they suggest potassium citrate treatment improves overactive bladder symptoms, especially in the elderly. Potassium deficiencies are more common in people who take diuretics and are physically very active, or people who suffer from malnutrition, either through eating disorders, celiac disease, or inflammatory bowel diseases. Also, smokers and people who drink a lot of alcohol or abuse drugs are at risk of malnutrition, which can lead to potassium deficiency. So if you suffer from an overactive bladder and belong to one of these populations, you want to increase your potassium in your diet by consuming potassium-rich foods such as avocados, bananas, tomatoes, potatoes, pineapple, chocolate, spicy peppers, raisins, beans, and lentils. I usually do not recommend supplementation with potassium supplements, as this may lead to an imbalance in trace minerals. Still, I do recommend talking to your doctor about supplementation with potassium in the form of potassium citrate if you do not consume, or really do not consume, enough foods that have potassium. You should avoid potassium supplements if you have kidney diseases, because kidneys cannot remove excess potassium. Also, pumpkin seed oil extract is rich in vitamins and oleic acid and micronutrients and linoleic acid, and a study led by a team from the University of Japan showed that pumpkin seed oil could prevent and treat urinary disorders. The study evaluated and studied urinary frequency and urgency of 45 people over 12 weeks, and they found that pumpkin oil is very beneficial for overactive bladder. You can take pumpkin seed as an oil supplement several times a week. Also, cranberry juice. Scientists once believed that cranberry juice's acidity levels help prevent and treat urinary tract infections. However, it is now known that cranberry juice contains a type of proanthocyanidin, which protects the urinary tract and bladder from bacteria, especially E. coli, responsible for the infection. And clinical research has also shown that drinking cranberry juice, preferably without sugar, daily can help prevent the recurrence of urinary tract infections, reduce the bacteria by 50%, and also is crucial in helping avoid overactive bladder symptoms. You also want to stop smoking. In a recent study on the impact of smoking on bladder health, researchers from the University also of Japan led an extensive investigation involving over 10,000 participants with the smoking habit, and the study concluded that smokers were more likely to experience urinary incontinence than those who did not smoke. Also, pelvic floor muscle training is excellent. According to a study led by a team in Poland, pelvic floor muscle training was an effective treatment for women with urinary incontinence. Now, pelvic floor muscle training exercises, or Kegel exercises, for both men and women strengthen the muscles around your bladder and your pelvic floor muscles to help prevent urinary leakage. To perform the exercise, you can pretend that you're urinating and you're tightening your muscles to stop the urination flow. These muscles are very, very important, and when you focus on tightening the right muscles, then you can actually strengthen these muscles with time. I recommend actually doing this. I do it daily when I'm stuck in traffic or whenever I'm driving. I get in the car, I do a few pelvic floor exercises. Nobody notices that you're doing them, but they are very, very helpful. Another method is to wait until you have to urinate and you start to empty your bladder, and then you tighten your muscles in the middle to stop the stream. Also, vitamin D deficiency causes a significant reduction in pelvic floor muscle strength. So, as I mentioned before, vitamin D supplementation is recommended. Visit my video on vitamin D to help you achieve sufficient levels of this nutrient. So I hope you found this video beneficial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please also visit my website, thegorilladiet.com, to help you achieve your health and weight goals easily, with a lot of information, free information, programs, courses to help you move your health to a better place. And also subscribe to this channel if you like this type of content. Thank you very much for joining.